Few finishes in mixed martial arts are more aesthetically pleasing than the head kick knockout. It doesn't matter if it's a spinning heel kick, a textbook roundhouse, or a sneaky front kick. When it lands, it's game over. Fans love them because they tap into the raw, ruthless nature that compels them to tune in. With that in mind, here's a look at the 10 most ferocious head kick knockouts in UFC history. Let's kick things off with a battle for pound #1 spot in the rematch between Islam Makachev and Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski stepped in on just 11 days' notice to replace Charles Oliveira and had promised to be in kill mode for the fight.
They know what's happening. Like, I ain't here to play it safe. I can't afford to play it safe. I'm going in for the kill and that's it. You know what I mean? So it's kill or be killed.
Makachev welcomed the challenge, vowing to end the rivalry once and for all, and he did just that in brutal fashion.
And I'm gonna try to finish him because after last fight we have many questions. Everything I will finish here. All answers is gonna be Saturday night.
After a razor-close 5-round battle in their first encounter, Makachev wasted no time proving his dominance in this meeting. A perfectly timed left head kick sent Volkanovski crashing down, and a few follow-up strikes on the ground sealed the deal at just 3 minutes into the opening round. With this victory, Makachev defended his lightweight championship and extended his winning streak to 13, tying him for the third all-time in UFC history. Meanwhile, Volkanovski suffered his first knockout loss in a decade, and it crushed his dream of becoming a double champion. After the fight, Islam had nothing but respect for Volkanovski.
But I want to say thank you to this guy. He's a real champion. I told you, you have to turn on the light to beat this guy. He gonna fight all 5 rounds. He never give up. He's a real champion.
Volk did take it as a champ, though.
You know, I probably made decisions. You know, I could have made better decisions but again, like he's not somebody you should be taking a short notice with. But
and if you think Islam's kick was brutal, wait until you see what it's like when a 230-pound fighter lands it. But before we go into that, please leave a subscribe if you enjoyed the video so far. We're looking to grow the channel in 2025, and the only way we can get there is with your support. During this period, Alex Pereira is starting to look downright unstoppable. And if anyone can vouch for that, it's Procházka again. The rematch at UFC 303 says it all. Originally, UFC 303 was supposed to be headlined by Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, but after McGregor pulled out due to a broken pinky toe, Pereira stepped up to defend his title against Procházka, and let's just say, things got interesting before the fight even started. Due to the result of their first fight, Procházka made some unusual claims about Pereira, suggesting he used black magic in his fights in the pre-fight interview.
I just want to keep it in a clear line, without some bullshits, without anything, in a pure performance. No magic. No magic. Let us show who's the best in the performance, the strongest man on the planet, lightweight.
And the comments didn't sit well with Pereira.
Always, no magic, a lot of training, a lot of dedication, Shama.
After what happened next though, Procházka might still believe Pereira has some supernatural powers. Pereira left no doubt about who the better fighter was, finishing Procházka with a brutal switch kick to the head, followed by some ground strikes that forced the referee to step in. It was a dominant performance, and with that, Pereira successfully defended his light heavyweight championship. As for Procházka, this loss was a harsh reality check.
Thanks to you, Alex, for a fight. It was better. And only one thing goes on my mind, that I need to evolve to the next level, or don't fight again. So it's simple. To be the strongest, this is the way.
From one brutal head kick to another, the next one is quite possibly the best example of getting a taste of your own medicine. Back in April 2007, the UFC returned to England for the first time in 5 years. The hometown crowd had their eyes on Ultimate Fighter 3 winner Michael Bisping, but what no one saw coming was the fight between Mirko Crocop and Gabriel Gonzaga. For years, Mirko had terrorized opponents with his signature head kicks, and that night, in front of a stunned crowd, Gabriel gave the Croatian legend a taste of his own medicine. With just 35 seconds left in the first round, Gonzaga unleashed a devastating left head kick, sending Crocop crashing to the canvas in one of the most brutal knockouts in UFC history. For Crocop, it wasn't just a loss, it was humiliation. And for years, that moment haunted him. Fast forward 8 years, his career was winding down, but Crocop just couldn't retire without getting revenge.
Definitely this is going to be one of the most important fights in my life. I just want to rematch and I just want to beat him.
The rematch wasn't looking good though. For 2 rounds, Gonzaga took Crocop down, mounted him, and rained down punches and elbows. It looked like history was going to repeat itself. But then, in the 3rd round, Cop flipped the fight on its head, unleashing a relentless ground and pound assault that left Gonzaga battered. The canvas witnessed Croatian redemption, while another weapon would prove far deadlier than any kick. UFC Fight Night 123 was the 3rd fight of Marlon Moraes in the bantamweight division in 2017, and he made a serious statement with it. Due to Moraes taking the fight on short notice and his training with local professional boxers, Sterling believed in his ability to dominate Moraes during the fight. But from the moment the bell rang, Moraes started hunting for a knockout, pressing forward with aggression that had Sterling looking a little off balance. Then, just over a minute in, Moraes went for a head kick, but before his foot could even get there, Sterling ducked right into a perfectly timed knee. No follow-ups were needed because he was unconscious before he even hit the canvas. After the fight, Moraes gave Sterling his respect, but made it clear he was ready for that moment.
He's tough. He's a hard guy to fight with. Good wrestler, Division 1, you know, the D3 All-America. And man, I was expecting a war. I was ready to go to the ground, get up, fight him, hunt him on the cage, wait for him to come try attempt submissions, escape from his submissions attempts. That was I was ready for, you know, and that's maybe why I finished him quick.
This next fighter didn't just land a historic head kick, he ended his decade-long winning streak. The highly anticipated rematch between the pound-for-pound #1 and the Brit coming off a 9-fight win streak was nothing short of electrifying. Tension has been brewing between them long before they even stepped into the octagon. Edwards has repeatedly stated that Usman's fame has gotten to him. However, Usman wasn't buying it.
You know, there's one thing that got me here, and that's, you know, my work ethic. Success only drives me to work even harder. So if they're thinking that I'm slipping, it's going to be a bad night for him.
Edwards still didn't back down from his words and doubled down during the press.
It's not personal for me. All it is I believe I'm #1 and I'm going out to prove it. He's clearly getting to his head. He's just about now closing his t-shirt up and wearing a t-shirt and closing his top up, but it's all good.
At the start of the fight, Usman was in complete control, using his superior wrestling to dominate Edwards. He was cruising toward another title defense, and with just minutes left in the 5th round, it seemed like the result was inevitable. But fights aren't over until the final bell, and Edwards proved that in the most spectacular way possible. With just under a minute left, Edwards delivered a perfectly timed head kick that caught Usman off guard, knocking him out cold. It was one of the most shocking come-from-behind knockouts in UFC history. With that knockout, Edwards avenged his 2015 loss to Usman and put an end to the Nigerian's incredible 15-fight unbeaten streak in UFC history. In an emotional post-fight interview, Edwards celebrated his victory, calling it the fulfillment of a lifelong dream.
It's hard to put it into words, you know, and that's the reason why I broke down in the octagon, because it all just came down. Everyone's seen my path, everyone knows my path and how it went, and I've been saying all week that I believe that was the way it was meant to go, to build me into the man I am today, build my mental toughness. And
as for Usman, he took the loss with class.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did enough to win the fight, but, you know, I knew it was a close fight. You know, great game plan, great game plan. You know, I've always said it from the start. I knew I would see Leon again, and we did it. And you know, I'm not done. You know, I'll see him again.
Let's move on to the next fighter who was searching for redemption but found himself on the devastating end of another massive knockout instead. After suffering 3 consecutive losses to Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, and Beneil Dariush, Tony Ferguson was determined to turn things around going into the fight against Michael Chandler.
It's going to be a great fight. I can't really talk too much shit. I'm going to go out there and just put the pressure on him. You guys are going to be entertained. I don't really want to talk too much and embellish on too much, but blades and shades, baby.
Even Chandler was full of praise for him.
Tony Ferguson is a certified one-of-one talent. He's hard to prepare for. Nobody in the gym can show me that look. And I think there is a method to his madness, and his win streaks have showed it. I'm going to go out there and compete and hopefully get a finish.
And in the first round, Ferguson looked like he might just turn things around. But then, in the second round, everything changed in an instant. Chandler landed one of the most brutal front kick knockouts in UFC history, sending Ferguson crashing to the canvas unconscious. It was a statement win for Chandler, who was coming off losses of his own, and he didn't waste any time making the most of his moment.
We don't even train that much. It just happened. I'm ready to come back. The main event. There is not one MMA fan on the planet that doesn't want to see me rematch you, Charles, or rematch you, Justin Gaethje, a rematch of Fight of the Year 2021, 5 rounds for the UFC lightweight title.
Talking about historic moments, it doesn't get talked about much more than the next one. Back in 2015, Ronda Rousey was arguably the UFC's biggest star alongside McGregor and pioneered women's MMA. She was coming into the fight as an undefeated champion at 12-0 against an upcoming fighter and ex-boxing champion Holly Holm.
Well, what makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world. I know that she's the type of fighter that I want to test myself against, and I want to show the world why I am the best.
Rousey's confidence was sky high with reason, but little did she know about the rude awakening awaiting her. From the opening bell, Holm's sharp boxing and southpaw stance kept Rousey at bay, tagging her repeatedly with her left hand and controlling the distance. And in the second round, she would connect a vicious head kick to the side of Rousey's neck that would end the champ's streak and overall career.
Winning about God's the best.
Just like that, the Rousey era was over. Holm's victory marked one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, with UFC president Dana White immediately promising a rematch that never actually materialized.
This woman has 4 times more fights than Ronda does. She's been a world champion. This was the right fight.
Rousey never got her direct revenge against Holly Holm, but 4 years later, someone else would do it for her. Fast forward a couple of years and the women's bantamweight division had another dominant champion. Considering Holm remained in the top 5 over this whole period, she was granted another title shot against a newly founded goat of women's MMA. Amanda Nunes stepped in the octagon that night determined to show why she was the most dangerous woman in MMA and display her dominance by beating others in their own game. From the opening moments, Nunes controlled the fight with superior striking, keeping Holm at bay with relentless pressure. Then, just in the first round, history repeated itself but with the roles reversed. In a moment similar to Holm's own knockout of Rousey, Nunes sent a devastating head kick that finished Holm and left her wondering what might have been. The perfectly placed kick sealed the victory for Nunes and marked her 4th successful title defense. And Dana White had some advice for Holm.
You know, she's almost 40 years old and she's in ridiculous shape. The things that this woman can do physically with like the rings and gymnastics and all that stuff is phenomenal. She's an incredible athlete. She's an incredible human being. I don't know. I think that she needs to take a look at, what's next for her and what she thinks. I'm just saying that because I care about her. I care about her as a person. She's amazing. So
now let's talk about yet another fighter who experienced the full force of her opponent's dominance. Heading into UFC 238, Valentina Shevchenko was one of the biggest favorites in UFC title fight history. Facing her was Jessica Ai, who was on a 3-fight win streak and determined to claim the flyweight belt, with even her appearance at the media day speaking volumes.
Valentina has been virtually unstoppable at 125. What are the holes in her game that you're going to look to exploit on Saturday?
She's been virtually unstoppable against 115-pound girls that were smaller that came up in the weight class. Valentina's first fight was a girl. That was her first fight in the UFC, and didn't even have the accolades that some of the other girls have.
But from the very start, Shevchenko showed why she was the reigning champion. Using precise striking and brutal body kicks, she systematically broke Ai down. Despite her resilience, Ai simply had no answer for Shevchenko's elite skills, and in round 2, Shevchenko delivered a head kick so devastating that Ai collapsed unconscious before she even hit the mat. With this win, Shevchenko successfully defended her flyweight title for the first time, marking her status as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world. In her post-fight interview, she made it clear she was more than satisfied with how she executed her submission tactic.
I think I did everything that I wanted. I prepared very good for the fight, and of course, I'm very happy to finish it like this way, like KO.
Next up, we have a head kick that made people cry. When Jon Jones and Daniel Cormier stepped into the octagon for their rematch at UFC 214, the stakes couldn't have been higher. Cormier was the reigning light heavyweight champion after Jones was forced to vacate his title due to a failed drug test.
But the reality is, for me, I do need to win this fight, because if you look at all the things that I've done in my career, I've done it all outside of beating Jon Jones. It's the last thing for me to do. And yeah, it's very important. I need to win this fight on Saturday night.
But now, Jones was back and he was determined to get the title he felt belonged to him.
We believe we're going to get the job done like we always do.
The fight started off as a chess match. Cormier came out strong and looked better than in their first match. However, in round 3, that would all change after Jones landed a brutal head kick that caught Cormier right on the side of the head and sent him stumbling backwards.
Once again sends Jones retreating.
He's just having a hard time reaching Jon. Oh, Jon landed a high kick. He's hurt.
DC was stunned by that head kick. Jones trying to press the issue here. Cormier is down. Not out yet.
Cormier's in big, big trouble. And Jon is all over him.
Here comes Johnny Bones with the ground and pound. Cormier.
That could be it.
Trying to survive.
That's it. He's out.
Jones would quickly wrap up the fight by pounding DC's head into the canvas until the referee had no choice but to step in.
Now, after not having it and realizing how easily it could be all done, not having this, I'm more grateful for every ounce of this process.
With that, Jon Jones was back on top and the light heavyweight belt was his again, but not for too long. Just when it seemed like Jones had reclaimed his legacy, everything came crashing down. A failed post-fight drug test revealed the presence of Turinabol, a banned substance which led to his title being stripped and Cormier reinstated as champion. And to watch more humbling moments in the sport where fighters talk too much trash before their bouts, check out this breakdown next.